Peace and hotep to the family. Greetings. My name is Ra, and I am broadcasting on behalf of 13scienceastrology.com. I'm doing this video on a topic that I've been experiencing for quite some time now. I was asked to do a video on this. Actually, when I first started making videos, I was asked to do a video on this particular topic, but I felt as though it wasn't the need to make this video at that particular time, because the information that I was putting out, basically I needed to build up to that point to be able to put out this type of video. And in this video, I'm going to go into ET communication, and namely I'm going to go into the ringing of the ears. Now, this is a phenomenon that has been, especially recently, this is something that a lot of people have been experiencing, the ringing of the ears. And the reason for this is because we are going through the shift. We're shifting from the third dimension to the fourth dimension. So a lot of times when you go through different shifts, you're able to tap into different tones and different information that normally you would not have been able to resonate with or tap into. For instance, there are tones that our ears cannot hear because they may function on a higher octave or a lower octave based upon the spectrum of our ear range. So there are certain tones, like high frequencies, that a person or an entity could broadcast a high frequency that would be so high that you couldn't hear it, but it could actually control you and influence you. And this is tonation. Now, a lot of times, if you hear the ringing of the ears, if you hear ringing in your ears, and if you are experiencing the ringing of the ears, what it is that you're being communicated with by higher intelligences and by higher influences. Now, a lot of times when we talk about ETs and higher intelligences, many people think about ETs on a level of like greys and reptilians, and they think about humanoid looking ETs. But there are actually ETs that are like frequencies. Believe it or not, there are ETs that are frequencies. There are ETs that are different lights, that deal in different lights that or different colors that don't resonate with this realm. Like, for instance, there are colors that resonate on higher realms that we can't see, but on this realm they appear as though they're black. But on higher realms they'll appear as though a different color, like a color that we've never witnessed. That's what you would call an ET type of light or ET influence, because it's an extra terra astral. And the great one of the great teachers that taught a lot of stuff on ETs, Dr. Malachi York, he used to always talk about the extra terra astrals. That's what he would call it. And it's important that you understand that, because when you look at the term astral, you see light. Basically, the term astral deals with light. So when you talk about an extra terra astral, that's basically a light that is not from this earth, that comes into this dimension, it comes into this earth. That's an extra terra astral, or a light that, or a color that you never resonated with or that you've never seen. That's considered an extra terra astral. And it's the same thing with frequencies and radio waves. So if you hear the ringing of your ears, if you hear ringing in your ears, either you're having a health problem, you gotta get your health checked, because you could be having a health problem. That doesn't mean aliens are always trying to communicate with you because you hear ringing in your ears. Either you're having a health problem, or you really are being communicated with by ETs. Or it could be that you're tuning into the tone of the planet. The planet has a tone, and I'll go into that later. Now, let me first go into the ET part. Now, if you're hearing a ringing in your ears and you think you're getting communicated with by ETs, the best way to really figure out as to whether or not it's an ET or not is to begin to, you want to meditate. And what you want to do is, like, when you meditate, you want to match your frequency or your energy with the ringing. So if you're hearing a light or high ringing in your ears, and it's kind of like high, you want to quiet your mind and put yourself in a still state. And you want to align yourself with that frequency by tuning into it. So if you're hearing the ringing, you want to basically, it's going to become louder because you want to tune into the ringing. Now, when you tune into the ringing, what's happening is that you're crossing a barrier. There's a barrier that separates our world in this dimension where we're at from other dimensions. There's a barrier. You can't see it, but it's not something that you would see. It's something that you actually experience or witness. And there's a barrier. So when you're going into that ringing and it starts to become louder, the reason why it's becoming louder as you get in tune with yourself is because you're going through the dimensions. You're actually going through into the next dimension. And that's why the ringing is becoming louder, because you're going through the fire. That's basically what it's equivalent to. It's like equivalent to going through the fire so that you can make it to the other side. So that's what's happening or whatever if you hear a ring in your ear. So if you tune in, you'll cross the dimension, you'll go into the next dimension, and then from there, you'll get a message. If you're hearing ringing in the ears, that's basically a message that's being broadcast to you. And if you want to find out what the message is, like the ringing in the ears is kind of like, you know, for instance, like if you have a message on your cell phone, right? Like, or a text message. Somebody sends you a text message, right? And you hear like it has a ringtone or a text tone. You have a tone for your text message. That's the same thing as the ringing of the ears. Somebody or some entity is trying to send you a message, or you're hearing a ringing. They're trying to get your attention. That the ringing is not the message. The ringing is to get your attention. So now you have to go within yourself to find out exactly what they're trying to tell you. So you want to meditate and you want to go deep within yourself. Now, when you meditate, it's going to take time to get to the point where you can actually cross the dimensions and go through the ringing. So you can't just meditate for 5 or 10 minutes and think you're going to be speaking with interdimensional beings from just doing a brief meditation. I mean, it takes sometime an hour of meditation before a being might even show up. You know what I'm saying? It might even take an hour or something like that. And I hate to put linear time on it because it's not about linear time, like as far as like how long it takes for a being or something to show up when you're meditating, but because it's really not about time, it's about how much energy you have and how much chi you have. But a lot of times time becomes a factor because since we're beings that don't have a lot of chi and a lot of energy, we have to build up on our chi and build up on our energy. So as you build up on your chi and build up on your energy, that's when you begin to attract beings to you, or attract your guides, or attract whatever you're trying to attract. So it happens through meditation, and you have to allow yourself time to get to that stage. There's potential 13 different stages that you can go to in meditation, and I won't go into those stages here. I might do a video on it, I might not, but actually I go into this more in my light worker courses. But there's 13 different stages of meditation that you can go into. But in order to get information, you have to at least go to the 5th stage. So imagine being on stage 1 is when you first close your eyes. So when you first close your eyes, you're on stage 1. So you have to go from stage 1 all the way up to stage 5 to get to the point where you can get information. But once you get to stage 5, that's basically the realm of the Akashic Records. That's when you can tap into unlimited amounts of information, infinite information. But again, it takes time to get to that point. It takes time to get to that point. You can't expect to get to level 5 in a few minutes. You just can't expect to do it. So once you get to level 5, you'll begin to get information, and you'll go through the ringing, you'll go through the barriers, and you'll get to see exactly what it is or what message the universe or the beings have for you. So you'll get the message, and that's usually what's going on for people that are hearing ringing in their ears. Now, I know somebody out there that are like, that sounds crazy. If you hear ringing in your ears, how do you know this got something to do with aliens? And basically people always trying to say everything got something to do with aliens. Well, I can only speak from my personal experiences, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys a story because I don't mind putting myself out there like that because I know the truth. See, the thing is this, like, I teach the truth, and the truth is going to resonate with you. You know what I'm saying? The truth is going to resonate with you. Even if you don't believe it, it's going to do something to you, and it's going to transform you. So I'm going to get on here and tell the truth because I know even the person that's a naysayer out there that might not believe that any of this stuff is real, it's still going to do something in them, and it's going to resonate with them. You know what's going to happen to that person that's a naysayer? They're going to end up bumping into something that I said from somewhere else, and it's going to remind them of what I said or what somebody else said. And then they're going to come back and want to get more. So I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? You put the truth out there, and you know that it's going to resonate with people. Over time, it'll transform you. Over time, it'll transform you. So I'm going to go ahead and put out a little bit of information about something that happened to me when I was a youngster. I was actually 16 years old, and I used to always hear ringing in my ears. I always would hear ringing in my ears, and I didn't know what it was for. And one day, I heard I had a really loud ringing in my ears. I mean, loud, like to the point where it was like, I actually got a headache from it. Like I thought my head was going to explode. And I went to sleep, you know what I'm saying, pretty early that day. And my mom put me to sleep. Basically, it was like, just go ahead and go to sleep or whatever. Maybe wake up the next day and hopefully you'll be all right. So I went to sleep, and I did wake up the next day and I was all right. But when I went to sleep, I had an experience. And this was an experience. It might appear as though it was a dream because I was asleep, but I believe that the beings that came abducted me out of my sleep for a reason. I think they abducted me out of my sleep for a reason, because I believe that they come and abduct you in your sleep so that you won't struggle or so that you won't fight. It's kind of like if you were trying to go get a vicious animal or a dog or something. When you want to go get that dog, put the dog to sleep first before you get him. Well, that's exactly the way I think ETs do it or whatever. So I had an encounter with some Greys at the age of 16 years old. And the ringing was hard. As soon as I went to sleep, they showed up instantly. They showed up instantly, and I went on their craft. I remember seeing a speaker in the craft or whatever, and I remember speaking to the captain of the ship or whatever, and the captain of the ship was speaking through the speaker to me. It was communicating to me, and it was communicating Bible verses to me. Whoever this captain was or whoever this entity was communicating Bible verses to me through the loudspeaker. And I remember after the Bible verses were communicated, I was stripped. I was laid on the table, naked, and I remember them poking me in my feet, my hands. They put piercings in me, and I remember this clear as day, right? So they were talking to each other. I really don't know what they were saying, in some type of strange type of language that sounded like a humming type of language. I really don't know what they were saying, and they put me back into my bed. And when I woke up the next morning, I remember the markings. I remember them putting the piercings, and I looked at my hands. I look at my hands and I see the markings. I look at my feet. I see the markings. They're actually still there. They're light, but they're still there. They're like light, almost like light little pimples, almost like on my hand, like a little dot. But it's like light enough to see, and it wasn't there before I went to sleep. So I showed my mom, and my mom sees it, and she's like, wow. I mean, and they weren't really surprised because, I mean, I've always had paranormal experiences ever since I was a child. I mean, I've always had paranormal experiences, and I know that people that have paranormal experiences are people that really are like, I'm not going to say they're special, but it's that they're in tune with the other side and with that other dimension. And they're born with certain senses activated. Like, you have higher senses, but a lot of people are not born with those higher senses activated, but it's still a time where certain people are born with all of their higher senses activated. And I believe that all my higher senses were activated ever since I was a child because, like I said, I always had strong intuition. I always knew what was going to happen next. I always felt like I was able to see around corners and stuff like that. And I'm not saying all this to brag on myself, but I'm saying all this to say that the ringing of the ears is the thing that led me to, I believe, was the thing that led me to getting abducted, potentially. And I ended up researching the ringing of the ears and finding out more information about it. And I found out that the ringing of the ears does have a lot to do with certain beings broadcasting information and sending information to people based upon certain people that they choose to be a part of certain experiments. So they do broadcast the ringing of, they do broadcast information and signals, and it comes out as a ringing. But like I said, the ringing is to get your attention. It's to get your attention and to align you. Now, the second aspect of ringing that you could be hearing is you could be hearing ringing from the earth. The earth has a tone. Mother Earth has a tone. Mother Earth vibrates up under the number 8. And the tone of Mother Earth is the Om tone. Om. And a lot of times this Om resonates as a high-pitched ringing frequency that you can hear. And a lot of times if you want to get rid of the ringing, and this is like whether it's ETs or whether it's the Earth communicating with you, if it's to the point where it's getting overwhelming, you want to just you want to do the Om. And what that does is it aligns you with the natural tone of the earth, and it'll help to clear your head and help you to have clear audio and clear vision and clairvoyance, and it'll help to just totally align you with the natural frequency of the earth, which helps you to be in tune with the earth, which will help you to make the shift. So if you're hearing the ringing of the ears, a lot of people are hearing it more now because beings are trying to contact people now. There are a lot of entities out there. So if you're hearing the ringing of the ears and you want to stop, you want to align yourself with the Om chant. If you want to see what message the universe is trying to bring you, then you go deeper into it by meditation. And you want to cross the barrier so that you can find out what message the universe is bringing to you. You want to know like what message is bringing to you. Now, also another thing that can cause ringing is crystals. Crystals can cause the ringing of the ears. If you have crystals sitting around your house and stuff like that, crystals like they emit a frequency as well. And you can pick up on that frequency. You may hear a light tone because crystals resonate to a frequency as well. See, everything in this universe and on the physical plane is created by what's called tone and vibration. Basically, essentially, everything is created by music and tonation. So the hearing the ringing of the ears is a way and is a tool that's used by the earth and by certain ETs to help to upgrade humans' DNA, to help to activate the strands of DNA that are activated. Like, you have 13 strands of DNA and only 2 of those strands are activated. The ringing of the ears and tonation is good for helping to activate those things, because you want to have an active barotheric gland, active. You definitely want to have all your strands of DNA activated. You want to have an activated third eye, and you definitely want to activate your Merkaba so that you can fully experience the 4th dimension. All of these things will have to be activated if you want to experience the 4th dimension, and it comes in time. It comes in time. So if you're hearing the ringing of the ears, that's a good thing. That means you are in tune with the 4th dimension. So we can say that. If you're hearing the ringing of the ears, you are in tune with the 4th dimension. The thing is that you want to make sure that the information that you're being given is coming from a good source. So if you're hearing the ringing of the ears, you want to go within yourself and find out what's being communicated to you. And only you can figure this out. Like, I can't tell you. I mean, you can't send me an email and say, Ron Hotep, help me to figure out why my ears are ringing. Like, you tell me what they're trying to tell me. I can't tell you that, because the only way that you can figure this out is to dig deep within yourself and go to that dimension, that realm where information is allotted to you and allowed to you. And that's how you figure it out. And when you experience that, you'll notice that it'll come like this. You ever been in a situation where information just comes to you, like you just know things that you shouldn't have known? The reason why you're feeling like this is because, and you're picking up on this information, is because you have been in tune with a dimension in a realm that is abundant in information, and you're just picking up on the information and spitting it back out, basically. So that's why you're knowing things that you shouldn't know, because everything that needs to be known in the universe can be known. You just have to know how to tap into it by tapping into the informational realm, or the Akashic record, the Akashic records. Like Einstein tapped into the Akashic records. A lot of the theories and formulas that Einstein came up with, he got that from the Akashic records. Einstein has accounts where he said he remembers seeing a formula just flash in front of him, and that formula became one of his main formulas, like the theory of relativity or something like that. Like, he actually saw that as a flash of inspiration. He didn't just sit down in the laboratory and come up with that. And I want to point that out too, because a lot of people, they take the spiritual realm for granted. They feel like only in the intelligent, logical realm can you learn. In the spiritual realm, you can't learn anything because it's not tangible. That's not true. Everything that came to this world and to this physical planet in 3rd dimension came from that world, came from that spiritual world. All the formulas, everything, all the information and knowledge came from that world. So any type of knowledge and information that you need is there. So really becoming spiritual makes you more of a genius, makes you more enlightened, makes you more wise, makes you more intelligent. You have to become spiritually intelligent. When you become spiritually intelligent, it helps you to go to the root of things. So don't take it for granted. Don't take the unseen world for granted. Don't take the ringing of the ears for granted. Don't take broadcasts from ETs for granted. Don't take the tone of the earth for granted. You definitely want to work with these things, and you want to know what's going on. When you're hearing these things, you want to know which one it is. Is it the earth communicating with you, or is it ETs? You know what I'm saying? See, if it's ETs, they're going to constantly, like if it's ETs, it's going to go in one ear, and then it'll stop in this ear, then you'll hear it in that ear. Like, some people hear ringing just in one ear, and then they'll stop in that ear, and then they'll hear it in that ear. That's how you know it's ETs, because it'll like switch ears. And then if you start to communicate with your higher self and say, okay, I wish for this ringing to stop, then it'll stop. Or if you say, if this is an ET, I want you to make it ring in my ear, in my right ear, and then I want you to make my left ear ring. If this is a ET communication. And if it's an ET communication, it will happen. Like, you have to, like, when an ET counteracts you, like comes into contact with you and interfaces with you, you have to learn how to communicate with this particular ET by commanding it to do things. Like, for instance, you say, I command you, if you're an ET, to state your name, or I command you to do this, or if you're really for me, then I want you to do that. You give it orders. You know what I'm saying? You give the entity orders, and a lot of people are experiencing this, so I have to say this. You give the entity orders. You tell it what to do. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it control you. So that's how basically you can find out as to whether or not it's an earth tone or ET tone. If it's an ET tone, I mean, you might not want to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? They might be trying to manipulate you. So you like I said, you want to align yourself with the earth. You want to go ahead and do your Om chant. You want to center yourself. You want to ground yourself, and the ringing will go away. I'm going to shut this video down with this last point. Old Dirty Bastard, famous rapper. Just want to go ahead and throw this in here for people that think the ringing of the ears is just some bullshit. Now, a lot of people say he died from a drug overdose and he was just a crackhead, basically. And you could chalk him up like that. But you know, people that are in the industry go through a lot of things because they deal with a lot of occult. They deal with a lot of rituals, and a lot of times when you do occult rituals, a lot of people, their minds aren't strong enough to take the rituals to really see their subconscious mind come back at them. That's what's happening when you do a ritual. You're seeing your subconscious mind come back at you. So Old Dirty Bastard, when he got into the industry, he began to get communication from aliens. And if you watch one of his interviews, he states this. He says that the reason why he started smoking crack is because the ringing in his ears and the aliens that was communicating with him in his ears, the only time they would stop is when he would start smoking crack. That's the only time the ringing would stop for him. And he said it just got to the point, he said weed didn't stop it or anything, only crack stopped that ringing in his ears. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Is he telling the truth? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I'll say this, based on my information and research of the occult, I will say that he has a point. It's definitely ETs. I wish ODB would have talked to an occult guru or some type of spiritual master, because they would have told him that all he needs to do is do the Om chant to align himself and the ringing will stop. But it's just deep because this man basically got on crack to stop from ringing and stop communications from coming to him. So was he just a drug addict and his brain was screwed up, or was it legit? Was he really legit? And did he really come in contact with some ETs or whatever? And did he really want it to stop? And did he really just get on crack to try to stop it? So those are just questions you got to ask yourself. But I bring that point up to just kind of like point out that people are experiencing this thing, and the communications are coming to people that are rich and poor alike. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You're not above getting communications from ETs. I get consultations all the time. Like, I'm willing to put myself out here and talk about ETs and stuff like that. And people like, oh, you're an alien, or oh, you're this and you're that. That's all you do is talk about ETs and all of that. Are you an alien yourself? No, it's not that I'm an alien myself. I'm willing to put myself out here because I know that it's happening. And I get these consultations from so many different people, that people you would never imagine that are going through abductions. Successful people. These aren't people that are crazy and homeless and don't have jobs and can't afford to take care of themselves. These are people that can afford to take care of themselves and that are successful, that are getting abducted and seeing things. So it's not limited to somebody that's cuckoo. Like, they want to, like, people try to make metaphysics into basically anybody that's teaching metaphysics is on pills and cuckoo and crazy and shit like that. But really, you know what I'm saying, it's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? It's deeper than that. I mean, to really get into this metaphysics, man, you have to have a strong mind. You have to really have a strong mind, because you're going to interface with so many things in your subconscious mind or whatever. So many things in your subconscious mind. So you have to have a strong mind. You have to be ready to face anything, and you have to be fearless. And you have to, most importantly, deal in love. If you vibrate on love, you'll vibrate past all of those lower negative emotions and energies that want to control you and keep you up under their supervision. When you vibrate on love, you pass them, and that's why they don't want you to know about love. You surpass those beings that want to control you. So I hope this video helped. The ringing of the ears is key in extracting information. So until we meet again, I'll leave you all in peace and love.